Well, hello there, and welcome to my humble channel where I 3D print as a hobby and a passion, but also trying to run it as a side hustle and evolve it as a successful business. In this video, I was going to do a simple, straightforward unboxing of this EIBOS Filament Dryer, the Cyclops, and just run some test prints. But seeing as there are some cool and exciting new filament dryers, such as this EIBOS Filament Dryer and the SUNLU S4, I thought we'll take a look at those as well as some of the other options on the market, and just generally go over what a filament dryer is and its purpose. So first off, it is not like the Bamboo Lab AMS here, just a dry box. I mean, this is much more than just a dry box, but for instance, this DIY dry box here, where you can place your filament in here, add some desiccant, and the idea is that you keep it in a low moisture environment, so there's little moisture absorption into your filament, ruining your print. Well, a filament dryer like these here, the idea is that you'll actually actively heat the filament and remove any excess moisture that might have been trapped inside over time. Of course, if it's a very hygroscopic material such as nylon or polycarbonate, a little less ABS, then it can absorb moisture very quickly. And for those materials in particular, I find you definitely need something like this, or even a food dehydrator to remove the excess moisture. If not, you will end up having these issues like here, the excessive stringing, and these pop marks or these gaps may signify layer adhesion issues. I mean, there could be other reasons for this, but moisture or too much moisture in your filament can cause these issues. And with the filament dryer, the idea is once you dry your filament of the excess moisture, you will get a much cleaner print, such as this on the right. So, looking at some of these filament dryers available from EIBOS, we have the EIBOS 30 Series Easy Dry, which I've heard good things about. Very straightforward, but it still does have a humidity sensor on it, and then has a little knob here, easy to use. And then, of course, the Cyclops that I have just got. It has also a humidity sensor, a very straightforward panel over here, but you can also have two filaments inside here, and it goes up to 70 degrees C. And the price tag, well, I got it at $129, it's now $110. I suspect this will go down as these other new and upcoming filament dryers drop on the market. But this, at the moment, is actually one of the best that you can get for the said attributes, as well as it hitting 70 degrees C, which is what is needed to dry nylon and polycarbonate and ABS. And that's pretty much it for the Cyclops. If we move on to the this new, how do you pronounce it, POLYPHEMUS dryer from EIBOS, which I just discovered while putting this video together. I think it's dropping this October 2023. Should mention that it's right now, as of right now, it is October 4th, 2023, and this is not yet available. And the S4 is still on Kickstarter. But this POLYPHEMUS looks promising because it looks nice, premium design, and it also seems to fill up solve a lot of the problems I found with the Cyclops. Let's go through it here. Silent fan, safety fire protection, yet it's fire retardant material apparently. 3 levels of power. 360 rotating heating. Yes, this is good. Apparently, it will rotate the filament even if you're not printing, so that you can get even heating right around the spool, not just from where the heat is being exhausted out of. It has humidity control, so not just a temperature control, but if the humidity gets low enough, then it shuts off, so it makes it much more efficient. Yeah, but I'm not sure if you would. I mean, even if the humidity is low, you still want to heat up the filament. So I guess this is more of, if you keep the filament in here long term, then you just will want to heat to keep the humidity low. But if you actively want to dry the filament and remove the moisture, then you wouldn't use this feature. You would have it heated up because, like, for instance, nylon, you want to heat that for many hours at 70 degrees C, like at least like 5. Usually I do it overnight, say 12 hours. And you don't want that to shut off. But still, a nice feature. And if we go to the next page, also, yeah, they got some desiccant you can put in here in the box. That's nice too, I guess. But this is really cool. There's a bracket that can be added into it, so it can be enlarged so that you can actually fit up to 3 kg, according to them, which you can't currently do on the Cyclops. But I suppose you could print a custom bracket for the Cyclops, but yeah, that it doesn't come with it. And that is the latest from EIBOS. And then if we move on to SUNLU, we have their standard FilaDryers over here on the left, which signifies a lot of the market share of FilaDryers kind of are in this group here. There's a Creality one I have that is very similar to this. It's straightforward, it heats up, you set the temperature, and it fits one spool. And in these cases, they don't go much more than 55 degrees C. So the SUNLU one I have, this actually reaches temperatures very nicely. It gets 55 degrees C. My Creality one does not. One problem I have with my one, and I've seen other people have this issue too, is there's some sort of friction issue with the rollers or with where the filament comes out. When the spool gets low, to say like 200 or below grams, it just seems to get stuck. And I've literally had this pull off my shelf and ruin the print more than once. So I don't know if they fixed this, but the SUNLU S2, I've heard really good things about it. I have a friend who has this, and he's had no complaints. He has it hooked up to his bamboo P1P. It has even heating all around. It's a very good alternative to the Cyclops as of right now, but it's only 1 kg spool at the moment. And then, of course, the real beast here that I'm really looking forward to, the FilaDryer S4. As we can see, it is now on Kickstarter, and this did say 7 days. Now it's 6 days to go. Yeah, it looks very nice, very premium. And of course, the big draw here is it is big, and it can have 4 spools. At least for me, that's the biggest draw. Because as we can see, instead of having lots of FilaDryers stacked right next to each other, you can have one big one going to several printers or just a one printer. Temperature balance is efficient. Also has humidity control. But the big draw for me is, yes, 4 spools as mentioned. Particularly, this is going to combo well with the ProForge 4 that I've also backed. I'm kind of addicted to Kickstarters, it seems. But it's a tool changer kit, and it has 4 spools that you can attached to the 4 print heads. Just a little video here. Oh, that's not the video. Here is the video.
All made possible.
Very cool. Can't wait. But yes, going back to the FilaDryer S4, I think this will combo very well with the ProForge. It has good convection. 2 fans going in opposite directions for even circulation. Standard rollers. Looks like a PTC heater, so that's safe. 330 watts, that's quite a bit. It compares it to the S2, and even though it's much larger, the speed at which it hits temp is much quicker. So that's great. It has a nice interface. And finally, it is capable of having 3 kg spools, but you have to print this. I know this looks like something you can buy from them or attachment offered by SUNLU. Maybe it will be, but as of right now, you have to actually print this. So yeah, very functional. 4 spools, can't wait. That's it. So without further ado, I can now move on to the actual unboxing of the Cyclops. Just a quick reminder to like and subscribe if you want to join me on my 3D printing journey as I evolve this business in 3D printing space. It's almost every week I'm doing something different, serving a different client, making things from anything from a statue to engineering parts, and I encounter all sorts of problems, and I'm working all sorts of upgrades. If you'd like to subscribe, that really encourages me to put all that content online, and which I know some people may find not just interesting, but very informative and maybe kind of fun, just to see how I evolve and expand this business. Here I'm just rambling and complaining about my ABS printed parts. They're very brittle, probably because they have too much moisture in the filament. They need to be dried. And then my setup before getting the Cyclops with the other filament dryers and the food dehydrator that I have. But I've been using this food dehydrator that does a really good job. It goes really hot, 70, and it feels really hot, and it's got a good airflow, and I've been using that to dry all sorts of filament, including ASA, CF Nylon. It works very well. And then I've been using my Creality filament dryer, and it just doesn't get up to temp. Like, I tried putting things like this and this to cover it, like all the way around, and it really only goes to like 45, 40. So it just kind of maintains the dryness for like higher temp filament. I also have a SUNLU, like I think it's an S1 here. It gets to temp very well, maybe to 50, just 55. But man, if you have this, you know, when the filament starts to run out, it just gets stuck. So it actually really sucks to stop using it. And that led me to get the Cyclops because it seemed to be one of the best in the market up until recently. Now people have had better videos than this unboxing, or they've actually tested several filament dryers back to back. This is just me, and okay, of course it looks exactly as it should in the pictures. There's also something similar to this on AliExpress that looks more robust and better built, but I couldn't really find reviews for that, so I just went with something that, you know, has good reviews. That said, it's not complicated. It seems like a very basic design. Like, it's not like expensive plastic. I can feel it's like a little on the cheap side plastic. There's a PTC heater in there, which is great, and a small fan on the bottom here. Plastic a little thin. I mean, the electronics look pretty good from what I can see in here. Cable length is probably fine. And yeah, I mean, you know, looking at this now, I don't think this is necessarily worth the 130 USD I paid. If it comes down to 90, probably less than that, 80, it may be worth it. Actually, I don't think this could do 2 kg spools. It could do 2 1 kg spools. This is 2 kg. And let's see. Sorry, I'm a little rushed here. Hey, I don't think it can. No, definitely can't. That's okay. Neither can the bamboo AMSs, which are not filament dryers, but. And it seems to roll quite well. How about cardboard? Yeah, it's okay. Should be fine. And I mean, that's it. There's nothing else in this box. Yeah, I think this is. I mean, you know, I think it's function more than anything, but it doesn't seem like a super premium dryer. This acrylic is pretty good though. This not so much, and here it is. Let's test it out on the bamboo. All right, here she is set up. Let's see. Okay, she turns on. Let's remove this. I'm peeling that stuff. It's already going to 50 degrees. All right, pretty straightforward. We get to choose temperature, which I'm going to set to as high as possible because I'm going to be drying some CF nylon. All right, so that's good. Number of hours. You have to. This takes a while to dry, and I'm going to do this overnight, so I'm just going to set this to 9 hours. Oh, and you can set it by the minute too, and it's as simple as that. There's no other. I don't think there's any other options here. You should probably look at the manual, but probably don't. So it has a lot of these holes everywhere on top here as well. And I guess as it's blowing the air out, it's going to be drying. So you don't want to keep the moisture in here necessarily. But these holes here, we can add PDF tubes. So what time is it? It's 1 a.m. Ooh, I can feel the heat. Oh, yeah, that's hot. That's really hot. And there has been some complaints about this being too hot, especially for like PLA. It's coming out at like 90 degrees C. Maybe. Because I mean, the PTC heater itself is going to be really hot, so it feels really hot. Yeah. Okay. And so I am going to be testing, heating up some FilaDryer, I think you call it FilaDryer AE Ultra PA CF. It's supposed to be one of the better quality PACFs. It's got good specs, but I know for certain that it's got a ton of moisture in it. I started printing this. I changed the filaments, and this is the result of the FilaDryer filament I was talking about. And as you can see, it's got a lot of moisture issues. This is cleaned up. Like I cleaned up and I filed and I, cut away. So it was way worse than this and way stringy. Still really strong, pretty strong. But obviously it could be a lot stronger and a lot neater. And it could also cause a block on my bamboo. I found like 90% of high temp blocks is when the iPad is when there's moisture in the filament. So it's good to pre-dry this. Let's weigh it actually. 1231 G. To see if we lose like a gram or two of moisture. And look, I can prove like it's very brittle. Let's see. Oh yeah, super brittle. That's not good. And from what I've heard, when you absorb moisture or filament, you can dry it, and that helps, but there is some irreversible chemical reaction that goes on to a certain extent. So sometimes you just have to throw out a spool if it's not working out, or it's just had too much moisture. So we'll leave that going overnight and see if it prints better in the morning and compare it to this piece. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. Finally got a battery in here and it's already heated down to 35. This is for reference 45 outside that chamber. And I guess that will continue to go down. And it's already down to 10% humidity. And the spool might still be heating up. It's 40, but this is accurate. 43 down here. Not sure where to point this. I think a thermal camera would be better than this right now. I'm pointing at the PTC here. It's like 47. It does feel hotter than that though. It's pretty hot. I don't think this is incredibly accurate. I mean, okay, this part of the spool, which is directly above the heater, is 50. That's more reasonable. And up here it's like 40. Okay, so far so good. Alright, here we are the next day. More fresh than working late at night. And let's take the saw. And yeah, let's weigh this. Oh wow. I don't know if I believe this because I don't know how accurate this is, but this is saying it's gone down from 1231 to 1226, which is like 5 grams of moisture. That's interesting. That's I can't believe that was like 5 grams of water in here. Okay, this is small print. This is a mount for my CR Touch, and man, it doesn't look great. Yeah, still a ton of stringing. Yep, didn't remove all the moisture, and plus, well, it may have removed all the moisture, but I think the quality of this this nylon is just deteriorated too much. I just hope that it's still is better than not removing the moisture that was there. I mean, it still feels really strong, and most importantly, it's going to be heat resistant because I need this and more pieces to be in a heated chamber to withstand up to hopefully 80 degrees C. All right, still an issue, but yeah, I like to think it's better than nothing, eh? Whoa! Oh dear. Okay, so one problem with this is the loading after using this for a bit. Maybe I just haven't figured it out. But you have to take this whole thing off, and you have to kind of fumble around. Like, am I going to feed it through the top? You have to feed it through the top and then let it sit out there and then insert, pull it to the printer. For me, I'm going from the back here, so I guess I can insert it here, or I could have inserted it without the tube in there and just put the tube in later, but this is here now. So I gotta feed this down to my printer, right? So I gotta like hold this and I gotta keep feeding it down like this. I mean, if there was some sort of like swivel, you know, or like if the top opened out, I would just like keep turning this, or if it was feeding out the top, I could, I could maneuver and have 2 hands working to move the spool and push the filament through. With this, I have to hold this and kind of awkwardly just maneuver, figure this out. Now it's not quite going into my printer so well, so this is not a problem with the Cyclops, but alright, so I can keep going here. Again, pretty awkward, and this is how I have to feed it through. It was just much easier with the SUNLU or the Creality one I had. Okay. All right. So, and then once you're done, okay, you can put it down. But yeah, I just wish there was a better way to access this and access the spool without having to lift this whole thing off. And I can't lift it off because I have to feed the filament through while I do everything. So that's a bit annoying. But I mean, if you're not switching your spools up a lot and you're using the whole spool, it's like you don't have to do it very often. Yeah. Here, I'll just compare it with, the old Creality one I had before. I would just open this. All right, so it's on a latch by itself, and I mean this is limited to only one spot to come out of, which is the top here. I guess it's easier to come out the top here than it is at the bottom, but yeah, and I just feed it through and I'm pretty much done, and I can I could remove this tube and I can attach it to here, I probably should demonstrate something similar to that. You know, say this was feeding to my printer, I would just then insert this like so and insert this into here, and then I would just normally just feed it through like this quite easily, which is much easier than having to hold this and feeding it through. Yeah, and you know, while I'm at it, I might as well just see what it's like to have a second spool in here. So again, I've got one spool in here, and now I'm going to add a second one, and this time I'm going to feed it through the top, for example. So, but this one's already in here. So if I hadn't planned to do both at the same time, like I am right now, then I might have a little bit of trouble here lifting this up. It's not too bad, I guess. Okay. And now, while I hold this and I have to deal with this, I just realized here that actually, if you don't have a PTF reverse Bowden tube coming out of the Cyclops, then if you just have a small PTF tube, you could just feed it through, and it's much easier, and then just pull and connect it to your printer. Oh, and I guess I can feed it through here, hold this, and yeah, so not so easy. And then what? Then I have to say this goes to my printer. I feed this through to here, and then I gotta continue to. Well, I guess what I could do is I just take a lot out. Oh, take a lot out, and then I would feed this through here, the PTF, in excess, so that it comes out the other end of the PTF tube before it feeds to my printer. And then I can go and I can load this into the bamboo again. Like, I got two places I can load the bamboo. So that is one way to do it. So yeah, it's a little cumbersome. Hopefully the S4 SUNLU, it seems to, I think it opens from the top, and so you can deal with it, and you can, it's latched like the Creality, so you can do what you need to do and feed things through, and then you can close it. But this, you have to take the whole thing off, which you have to fumble around a little bit. It's not a huge problem, it just might be a little frustrating at times. See how well this cardboard spool goes. It seems to be quite fine. Alright, another test. Just update this firmware. This time with PLA. It's brand new out of the, the wrapping, so it shouldn't have much moisture, but heck, let's just try this Silk PLA. Comes out any different. Oh, I mean, this is currently the quality, and you know what? There are actually little bubbles in the Silk PLA, so that means that there is moisture content, even though this is new. So I'm gonna let this run at 52 degrees for some time. Oh, I peeled this off, crap. And see if it gets rid of those little bubbles. Actually, you know what? This came apart really easy. Like, look. Oh, there's something wrong with this Silk PLA for sure. Yeah, it should not be doing that. Okay, I only dried it for like 4 hours, which is probably not long enough, so won't be surprised if this still has issues. And you know what? It still does, so yeah. Too bad. I'm just hoping to get this working before I go to bed. Oh, let's see if it's gonna crack. Oh my gosh. That is too bad. Alright. Let's check it out. It's been drying overnight, and I still see bubbles. Maybe there's just something wrong with this filament, this brand that I'm using. I'm gonna bet then, yeah, this is still brittle. Oh, okay, yeah, look at that. That or it's the printer, but I ran some purge filament through here, so it should be good. Only other way to test this is I use a brand I know that works well, which is iMetrics. So let's try that. Got this filament also drying, might as well. And now pulling back out of my bamboo X1. See? Okay. Okay, and now I'm going to put this new filament in. Alright, so it's kind of hard to hold both this and insert here. I only have one hand to work with here. I'll hold the top here. Okay, not too bad. Yeah. Oh. And I just have a problem on my printer side. Nothing to do with the Cyclops. Okay. Alright. I'll load. And I want to put this ABS back to also dry. Yeah. Okay, different filament, different silk silver. I still have some bubbles, but I haven't dehydrated it for very long. One more truth. Okay, it doesn't seem to be that brittle. I guess it's a filament, just that filament has a problem. So, we're gonna put this back in the food hydrator and see if it works better than the Cyclops. Alright, and after the new filament was drying for some time, I'm happy to say there are no more bubbles. And it's pretty tough, so it's worked for this one. Okay, so back to the bad filament. I've been drying it for some time in the food dehydrator, but not like super long, maybe 6 hours? Yeah. Anyway, shorter than in the Cyclops. And we're gonna put it in and see if it prints better now that it's been in the food dehydrator versus the Cyclops. Oop. And yeah, so we get to see. Alright, let's take a look at this. What was, hopefully is bad, was bad filament. Okay, so it's a lot better. There are maybe a few pop marks, bubbles. It seems a lot stronger. It's very interesting. Because I had it in here overnight, well over 12 hours. Popped it in the food dehydrator for 4 or 5 hours, and it seems a lot better. Could be that it just needed that extra amount of moisture out that was completed by the food dehydrator, sorry. But I suspect the food dehydrator is just better because of the circulation. This doesn't seem to have amazing circulation. It just shunts it right up, and it's not super powerful. It's very hot, but I just don't think it, the food dehydrator, it just spreads around and goes out, and it's meant to dry food. And food has a lot of moisture. So I still think the food dehydrator is the best at dehydrating. This is good at keeping filament dry while you print and, drying a little bit, but that's just about it. Very interesting. All right, and there you have it, the EIBOS Cyclops. It does work. It's functional. I was able to remove 5 grams of moisture from CF Nylon. I had improvements with the silk PLA printing. It's not a perfect filament dryer, as mentioned throughout. There's a couple of issues. Maybe if the price came down a bit more, I think below 100 USD, it'd be more worth it. But it didn't have much competition as of right now. That being said, the newer version from EIBOS is coming out, and then the SUNLU S4 is also coming out, and probably deliveries are going to be in the next couple of months. So it's probably will be worth holding out for those if it's within your budget, as they do seem to be more premium and cover all the issues that I mentioned in this video. In fact, I'll mention that I do have an affiliate link for the SUNLU S4 on Kickstarter. So if you're watching the video in the next couple of days before it's released, please try and use that link. And thank you for watching the video, and consider subscribing and liking. And you can also check out my other videos. And I do try to monitor all the comments and reply where I can.